afternoon, everybody. How are we? Well, most of you already know me. I'm Jordan Brandman. I have been on your city council since December of 2012. Before I get started with what I have been up to as your council member and formerly your school board member, I would like to introduce my campaign team. My campaign manager, Danny Fierro. And my field director, Martin Medrano, who I'd be remiss since he is also elected official as a trustee with the Hacienda La Puente Unified School District. So I have been on your council since December of 2012, and when I was running in 2012, how shall I say this? The council session at that time had basically gone so interestingly awry that the rudder was basically off the ship of Anaheim. We had the council had dismissed their city manager. They had a city manager who frankly did not know what he was doing. And by the time we got to the fall of 2012, we had a council led by a mayor who had laid off and dismissed 24 full-time parks workers, and which was abominable all unto itself, and reduced the engine one more than necessary that had already been done because of the recession of our fire department. It was done in a gratuitous fashion as well, and so much so that even my colleagues today, so a few of my colleagues today are working with me to restore all of those mistakes of 2011. And during the summer of 2012, we had very unfortunate unrest due to events that happened right here in central Anaheim. And I was already running, but I knew as the person who was going to succeed Councilwoman Lori Galloway, who I have a great deal of respect for, that it was even more incumbent upon me, should I have been elected to council, to be the progressive voice that Anaheim needed, and someone who could work with the current members of the council to get those things done for the community. And I believe that I have accomplished that. During my first business meeting on December 18th, I moved a series of progressive actions, of which all were accomplished. One, as promised to the community, the settling of the lawsuit on districts. With that one action, the tide shifted. And after very, very, very thoughtful discussions with the plaintiffs, we reached a unanimous voted upon settlement with the council. And now we have districts, and here we are in this wonderful reality where we will have guaranteed neighborhood representation. Two, I moved that we provide full Spanish translation services at the council meetings. It had been done on an as-needed basis in Santa Ana, and I thought it worked very, very well, and I decided it needed to be done in Anaheim. Then, also in my first 60 days on the council, I began to work with my colleagues on adopting a support for comprehensive immigration reform, which was being discussed in the Congress in 2013. It was very important to the community that the city of Anaheim stand up and say, we welcome all immigrants, and all immigrants, regardless of status, deserve a voice and deserve to achieve the American dream here in Anaheim. And further, and I'm standing with, we're in the presence of the person who accepted the proclamation, who was a dear friend of labor leader Cesar Chavez, naming March 31st in the city of Anaheim as Cesar Chavez Day. That was all done in the first part of my term, the first 90 days. And since then, we have steadily built on that record. We have created, please run, come on in. Go sit next to your wife if you do find a seat. Vern and Donna and I saw each other this week, so we're on good familiar terms then.
I hope I didn't miss too much.
No, you did not miss anything. You did not miss
anything.
And thank you for the 10 minutes. It's very important that I walk through these steps. While I was not on council in 2012, Anaheim processed a project called Arctic. I am very supportive of the Arctic train station. We are going to be the southern terminus of high-speed rail, and with the development of the Platinum Triangle, I know that facility is going to be fully utilized in the near future. But something happened on the way to the forum. Because of the way the rules worked in Anaheim, because there was not someone on the council making sure that the job was 100% union built, only about 50% of the structure was built with union labor, which meant a lot of it was not fully highly skilled. And that's bad. And it was not from local hire here in Anaheim, in the greater Anaheim area. And when I got on council, I made a promise to the community and to the trades that the large projects that are city funded are going to be built with project labor agreements from here on. And that's what we did with the convention center. And that was approved on my birthday, on March 11, 2014. It was a great birthday present because it was the first time in Anaheim that had really happened. And we have built on that. And just recently, we adopted, through our hotel policy, 3 hotels that are going to create, along with the convention center, over 11,000 union jobs, all with project labor agreements, all with workers from here in Anaheim and here in the greater Anaheim area. And that is the legacy that I have continued from Lori County. And I'm very proud of that. In addition, many of you know that we went through the Great Recession, and I've worked very hard to increase park access. We just reopened Little People's Park, which is a wonderful asset to Central Anaheim. We have, and I say this, you win some, you lose some, but you somehow are able to turn what is a defeat into a long-term victory. I'm continuing to work on the expansion of Palm Park, which was a dream of our city leaders 60 years ago to turn it into the athletic jewel in the crown for Anaheim. Unfortunately, you file this under win some, you lose some. The majority of the council, which I was not part of, decided to allow a non-union, independent charter school on that site. It was not part of the original plan. It was a 3-2 vote. But we're redesigning the entire master plan, and we're going to get it done. Anaheim Elementary School District made a decision without consulting the city to approve it. And then the city had to make a decision, and I lost. But with that, that's okay, because I continue to work to straighten sidewalks and fix the streets and increase the lighting through street lights. And if you've noticed around the district, that's what's happening in addition to, and this is very close to my heart, the undergrounding of utilities, which beautifies our neighborhoods. That, in concert with my record on the school board in improving Anaheim High, Sycamore, and the great work that was done at Anaheim Elementary with the elementary feeders, of which here's Ben Franklin right here, my neighborhood school. Things are going very well in Anaheim. And this is the work I want to continue. I want to get La Palma Park done. I want to use the revenue that we are creating to expand the undergrounding program. So it's not just our major thoroughfares, it's every single street. So that you never have to look at the utility lines running through your neighborhoods. If we're able to get that accomplished, and I know we can, our property values are going to go through the roof. That's what I'm here for. That's what I live for. Expanding park access. The things that make you and me as residents feel proud of walking out our door every day and coming home at night, feeling great about the place where we live. And all of that in concert with strong public safety, which is coming back and full of community service officers, firefighters, good parks workers, and I'm very happy he's here. I'm looking directly at him, the person who succeeded me and took my seat on the school board, Al Jabbar, who's working very hard to finish the work that I started at Anaheim High School. When I was at Anaheim High School, when I was at Anaheim Union, before I was on council, I negotiated the MOU to expand the Anaheim High School campus. And before I left, we at the district and the city, and we continued those conversations into 2013. I want to continue those conversations to open up the Anaheim High School pool once it is fully reconstructed to full access, so that we have the Pearson Park pool, we have the high school pool, and then, of course, the pool that we are also building, hopefully in District 3, once the YMCA is able to assemble their private funding, on the home oil site off of Manchester in District 3. So we have the opportunity by the end of the decade to have 3 pools in District 3. This is what I want to work for. This is what I would appreciate 4 more years on the council to get accomplished. Representing everyone in District 3, as I believe I always have. Lastly, I want to leave on this note, because many of you have read in the papers, and many of you are friends of mine who have observed and have been very supportive of the transition in life that I have made. And something happened that was heinous and awful in Orlando, that everybody knows about, and I'm very proud in response to the pain in the LGBT and the Muslim community that I was asked to move that the council fly the pride flag between Harvey Milk Day and the end of LGBT Pride Month. And I can say, and I'm very proud of this, that the council voted unanimously to do that. And we're just the second city in Orange County to do that. This council has turned. And with districts, it's going to get even better. We're going to be fully representative of all of our neighborhoods. I'm looking at someone who I have known since I was a child, who's running for District 1 in the West, who I adore, Leonard Latta. I'm looking at what we have built in the last 10 years since I first ran for school board, starting at Mama Koza's on July 24, 2006. Things are working. And I would really appreciate Anaheim Democrats' support this time around. You did not exist in years past. I'm proud to have been endorsed since 2006 by the Democratic Party. This will be the 5th time I have sought the Democratic Party endorsement that I have gotten 4 times. And I'm hoping that should Anaheim Democrats choose to endorse, that I would humbly consider that, appreciate that consideration. So with that, I am happy to take whatever questions. Oh, Mr. Daniels.
Councilman Brandman.
I can actually respond to you now since I'm not on the dais.
That's right. And do I still get 3 minutes?
You wait so long sometimes.
Yes, I know.
Whatever the market will bear.
Cup of wisdom. Given the fact that L&M passed so overwhelmingly 4 district elections and expansion of the city council to 7 members, and the mapping process that many of the people in this room took part in, labored, that was decided that there was the Oscar Reyes Peoples Map was the word of the day we wanted to push to the council, and there seemed to be a lot of resistance from you, from Chris Murray, from Lucille Crane, about accepting that map. And back and forth it went, and it looked like, and it really called for a do-over, and then that was shot down. We passed the people's map, and then you took credit for it.
Well, would you like me to explain what happened in
Absolutely.
those 60 days?
That's why I asked the
I'm
question.
absolutely happy to do
Yes.
that. So, we approved the map that was brought forward by the commission, the retired justices panel. And then we approved, we went through the second stage of sequencing. Between November 17th and December 8th, and I can say this now, I became in receipt of data that eventually everybody else in public knew once it was published by the Justice Department. And that data stated that what was a map that had a guaranteed Latino majority CVAP, which is what is compliance with the California Voting Rights Act, data that was presented to me the first week of December, before December 8th, said that there were no longer any majority Latino CVAP seats on this map. None. And that data would be officially published at the end of January 31st or February 1st. So, on December 8th, and I have no regrets about this, because I knew that if we had approved the map on December 8th, knowing that data would be published 45 days later, showing no majority CVAP, we were going to get sued again. And then we would spend the spring rushing through a map to election day. Just like the disaster that is Fullerton right now. The absolute train wreck that is Fullerton. I said to myself, we need to give ourselves 60 days, and at least, and I'll be very frank with you, I would have preferred to have started the 3 hearings as soon as all the data was public again. But I also understood between December 8th, the first meeting of December, and December 15th, which I believe was the second meeting before the holidays, everyone wanted to see this done as quickly as possible. So I said to myself, okay, I get it. I want to make sure everyone knows that the ball is moving and that we are going to get this map. So I made a very, 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 very thoughtful gut decision. Let's start the process on January 12th. The 3 hearing process again on January 12th. So that by the time we get to the 3rd hearing, which was the first meeting in February, all the data will be official and public from the Justice Department, which it was. And because of that, all parties who may have had an interest in suing what is frankly, not entirely CVRA compliant, because it does not have any Latino majority CVAP seats at this point. Everyone was accepting, including LULAC, MALDA, because everybody knew what the data was by the 3rd hearing. That is why I did what I did. I wanted to protect the entire community and the city from another series of lawsuits. And look at what has happened. We approved it unanimously, we got through it, before winter was even over. And here we are today. Whereas, our sister city of the north is undergoing a complete deconstruction. Because they have not been as thoughtful as we have. The map is great. The map is fine.
Yes.
But given the new data that arrived before the end of the hearing process, as your council member, I had to make a decision to make sure we did not go through another series of lawsuits from the parties not included in the settlement, who were bound to not sue. And that's what I did. And I think that we all made it through just fine.
Right, but there was no there as far as the lawsuit goes, and you never was.
Oh, but there was.
No,
There was. I know for a fact that interest in LA were going to sue us.
Well, if it turned out.
Then it turned out because all the interest in LA
Yeah.
knew what the data was, and there was no accusation from the council. We slipped through a map that wasn't entirely CVRA compliant because we, the council, had closed session data before the public did. It was all done above board in the first meeting in February by the end of the process. So I'm very pleased with how it went. I'm very pleased to have had the support of LULAC by the time the whole mapping process was done. LULAC had maps that, regardless of the new data, were gonna be completely CVRA compliant, that I would have been fine with. But we all banded together and we figured it out, and here we are today. And I think in a very, very peaceful, amenable atmosphere, talking about the issues that matter most to our community.
Any other questions for the councilman?
Which one?
Okay.
Art, do you want to go after Greg or before Greg?
I'll let Greg go.
Okay.
This is not gonna be a hardball